Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In the last episode we set up a Minmus mining base, and now I think I'll land the space plane that launched it. So the first thing we want to do is warp until we have some light, till it's 5 a.m. or so. Now we want to land around here. So, not that one, this one. So what we want to do is bring our orbit down around that area, but we want to aim a little bit past Kerbal Space Center because the atmosphere will slow us down. So here's our craft. You can see this green line here, aiming at Kerbal Space Center. That's our radio link. Now it's more efficient to burn further away, but, well, I'm just doing it here because we have plenty of fuel, and if anything, it might be a good idea to burn up some of it. So there we go. And you can see the planet's rotating a little bit as we orbit around. But that's okay. So, warp to next maneuver. Unfortunately, we are at a low orbit, so we can't time warp too fast. Here's another radio link you can communicate with. There are a few around the planet. I also have a relay probe somewhere, I think. This thing? This thing. Okay. So now we want to point mostly retrograde. And we need to adjust our maneuver because the planet has rotated. Or we can just do that. And I'm aiming at about these islands here. Aiming it around here. But it's not that important. It's more important if you have a rocket. But if you have a plane, you can fly around, obviously. Now, the closer you burn to your target landing site, the more delta V you need. But also, the less time you spend in the atmosphere. So if you have plenty of delta V, you may actually want to wait until you're a little bit closer than this to enter the atmosphere. That is, if you're in a low orbit like we were. But that's okay, we can time warp a little bit. And we're moving relatively fast, you can see. We're moving at a decent pace. Our landing site here is already at the shore. $50,000. Now if you want to slow yourself down, one thing you can do is sort of... Oh, we're pointing retrograde. Ha. Let's point prograde. One thing you can do is sort of flap up and down, or even go into a spin. Pointing forwards will generally not slow you down as much. And you may run into some issues with overheating if you don't flap up and down at all. You can see there's some heat bars here, but we should be pretty much fine. I don't think it's that big a deal. So you can see our APO is quickly, or not our APO, our impact site is quickly retreating here. Sort of seesawing back and forth as we wobble. It's accounting for the aerodynamics. Okay. So let's just turn this off and throttle up to maintain a speed of maybe Mach 2. Even Mach 3 would be fine, I suppose. And let's just check if we're pointed in the right direction. If we check our radial link, we want to turn a little bit to the left here. So we can do that, just turn a little bit to the left. And nose up a little bit. Throttle up to maintain our speed. How are we doing? Are we pointed in the right direction yet? That should be about good. And then once our APO, or not our APO, our impact site, this blue orbit, reaches this green line, we want to probably throttle off. And in the distance we can see Kerbal Space Center. I don't think we're quite aligned with the runway, unfortunately. We want to be over this way to get aligned with the runway. And once again, you can slow yourself down as necessary by flapping up and down. Or you can run your engines to accelerate. So let's just get aligned with this runway here. We may not do the best job. I don't actually have a lot of experience landing stuff from orbit at Kerbal Space Center because, well, the only reason to do so from a gameplay perspective is to save money, and flying space planes around like this is a little bit time consuming. I'm gonna throttle off here. It's a little bit time consuming. There's a little bit of trial and error usually when you see people making perfect landings. Yeah, let's just decelerate here and then nose up. Deploy the gear. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Nose up. Nose down again. And hit the brakes. I guess it won't be quite a perfect landing on the runway due to our lack of ability to turn, mostly. We can get pretty close though. In fact, I'll turn the engines on. Can we get on the runway? Come on. Brakes off. Does this count as on the runway? I'm not sure. It's a little bit questionable, but okay. Recover vessel. How much did we get? Come on. 98% value. Okay. Well, that's good enough, really. You can see we got almost all of the cost of the space plane back. Alright. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.